Welcome back to the One Predator podcast. Let's get into it.
All right, another episode of One Predator podcast, guys. Welcome back.
Sponsors.
You want to get right into it?
Yeah, get
Just
right into
dive
it.
right into it. All right, Rush Custom
Why you
Colors.
always got to make it awkward? God damn.
Because it's new. Rush Custom Colors for all your hand calling needs. Predators, waterfowl, turkey, deer.
The Messiah will show you the way.
Yep. Watch videos, his videos on YouTube.
He's starting to get people saying that when they text him now.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Sorry, Brian.
I'm not.
Defender training. You're in New York State, need to get your pistol permit. They do classes. They cover about a dozen counties. thedefendertraining.org, or you hit them up on Facebook. The double dog drags.
Oh, the doggy dog leashes.
Yep. Some of the best drags we've ever used.
Hands
We
down.
love them. Lightweight, compact. Throw them in your chest pack, in a pocket. They're tiny. How the handle and everything's only this big. Doesn't weigh anything.
Yeah, he 3D prints the handles. You put whatever you want on it.
Yep.
And he does call lanyards too.
Yeah. Yep. So hit him up on Facebook. There's links for all that stuff on our website at onepredatorhunts.com. All right. We have a guest. You can't see our guest.
You're forgetting some. Oak Hill Taxidermy.
Okay. Sorry. Oak Hill Taxidermy. If you're in our area.
He's the producer.
I'm not the memory guy.
If you're in our area and you need taxidermy work,
Something
her up.
Mounted up. Oak Hill Taxidermy.
she tans, hides, all the stuff.
Link for her Facebook is on the website as well.
SKB, if you want to look cool while you're hunting coyotes, you can go there and buy shirts.
Yeah. They got one.
And they'll make your shirts too if you want them that way.
Predator merch there. Yeah, everything's on whatpredatorhunts.com. Go to the links page. It's all there. Hopefully it's not too chaotic. We keep adding stuff.
Is it chaotic now? I haven't looked at it.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think you worry too much.
Probably. Okay.
Anyway, now you can start.
All right. So we do have a guest. You can't see the guest.
We haven't figured that out yet, but you're saying we can do that.
I believe there's a way to do that. I wasn't sure if our guest had a laptop with a webcam to be able to do that.
He might.
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, you can't see him, but he's on the phone. Mr. Nevada himself. Now, go ahead, Mr. Nevada. Introduce yourself.
Mr. Nevada, that was nice.
Yeah,
Can
you know,
guys hear
I was
me?
thinking like what are those fucking things called?
Sash.
A sash that says I'm a killer, Mr. Nevada, or I don't know. You know.
Well, first of all, radio check. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
All right, cool. How you guys doing? Good to be back.
We're glad to have you back.
We're doing good.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, it's our off season, so we're kind of meh.
Yeah. Are you still killing coyotes?
Well, I think everybody has had an extremely rough season. Even just like the past couple tournaments, and like you guys and guys between Kansas, Wyoming and stuff, everybody kind of reported the same thing. So I think it was just one of those really random off years.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a little touch of that.
Yeah. Well, the weather did. Our weather did.
Yeah, we lost a month.
Yeah.
Like we said this in the last one. You can hunt in deep snow, but we ain't.
Or, negative 10.
We went out some cold nights though.
Oh, we did, but it was not enjoyable.
Your eyes are tearing and it's freezing to your face.
Yeah.
Not fun. I'm like, fuck this. Let's go home and have cocktails. Way
No,
more
we
fun.
all, even out here in the West, and obviously I can't talk about California, Oregon, Washington, or Idaho, but for the most part, everybody kind of had even just fun hunting outside of tournament stuff. Everybody had a pretty ass kicking season. So hopefully that changes, coming up this winter. But I do feel for you guys because I know you guys can't, first of all, run suppressors.
No.
B, I'm I'm really hoping you guys are doing okay because how many days do you guys have left till the season starts again?
Oh, timer. Get the timer. We
That's
have a
good.
timer.
Because
Question.
I know you guys have hours down to minutes.
Yeah, 166 days, 9 hours, 16 minutes, and 50 seconds.
50 seconds.
Ugh.
That's fine
How
now.
do you guys do it?
I don't. I don't know.
No, yeah,
Support group meetings.
support group meetings.
We have people
And
like we
the
have.
mosquitoes kind of inspire you to stay in the house too
Yeah,
during the warm
the
months?
hell with them things, man. They're nasty. We only had we had 4 or 5 days of good warm weather now, and they're already all over the fucking place. The ticks are terrible this year. I had one on me tonight. So
No, even out here in the West too. Like there's already people popping up in like Colorado, and it's if you kind of listen to other podcasts and social media and stuff, it's coming more and more west. But um, much respect for. I really don't know how you guys do it to have to be stuck to a season and have to be like, okay, well, because when does it end? March something for you guys?
Last Sunday in March is the end of our
Yep.
season. Yeah.
at midnight, we hunted
al-
till midnight. I was like, well, that's
Also,
it.
also, I want to say too, your last podcast, I think that's really, really cool. Especially for anyone else that's listening, if they're extra new, take that time. This is your time to grab those hand calls and just start practicing in the car or out in the garage, away from the general public, and just start practicing. It's
That's-
your warm time, and also get your guns out and
Oh yeah,
start practicing off your tripods.
yeah. Because if nobody knows this, Mr. Cody Moore is actually a hand caller and an e-caller guy like us, and you have been for a long time,
Yeah, you call second, hand calls first. That's exactly what I started with.
right? So get out and practice. Super good information there. Now is
Always
the
pays
time.
out.
I keep a howler in my truck, and my kids hate it, but whatever, they'll adjust. Because I'll roll the window down, coming down the road past the couple houses that are on my road, and I'm howling.
It still doesn't help
Not-
if somebody else is in the cab.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just like fucking with people, really. And they're like, "Oh, what the hell is that, coyote?" There were some kids riding bikes by my house one night. Was that
That was last week.
last week when we recorded? And I was like seeing these. Now there's nothing out here, so like I see these lights coming, and there's these kids, and we walk out the door and they take off, and I'm like, number one, wrong fucking house. Number two, I was like, give me my howler, and I ran out in the yard and started howling at them while they were running up the road. It's like, good. I hope you shit your pants.
Yeah, they were all down here at the end of the road when I left.
They're all chilling,
Yeah,
doing country life things.
yeah.
Let's meet at the stop sign, guys.
What else is there to
Yeah,
do
it's-
here?
That's
Yeah.
one of our things. I mean, even when we're just, practicing, just doing hand call stuff, like you either have to be hanging out with, somebody that knows what the heck's going on, or be in a general kind of quote unquote area, where, two neighbors down would be like, I know what they're doing, but there's no other real way to do it unless you're on the freaking road or you go out in the freaking middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why? Because how do you explain standing somewhere where there might be a half-assed population, a general public, a person holding a phone, watching? Well, how does this specific animal make this sound? And then you have this like tube in your mouth, and it's like you can't really explain that to local law enforcement.
Ah,
I think most of the ones around here would know what we were doing.
yeah. Yeah, they're pretty. It's funny how they learn the truck, and they don't even. And kudos to them for everything they do. We appreciate them. One of our good friends who hunts now is law enforcement, and we put the needle in his arm. And he loves it now.
Well, I mean, right there's a difference too. It's like, it could be a practice moment, but then you get into, like, for example, like your guys' season, and you're out there in the field at 2:34 a.m. and maybe the neighboring property had no idea, or they just bought that property, and of course, what are they going to do? Phone call comes up, 911, even with no gunshots, and it's like, okay, here comes the spotlights again.
Oh God. Yeah, we're pretty. That has happened. But
It wasn't a call though. It
no,
wasn't called
they were
in.
just. That was just coincidence.
somebody drive. Well, a trooper happened to be driving by.
And saw the truck stoned into the ditch, and he thought he had a desperado, but
Yeah, right.
not the case. I bet you. I wish I could have been in the car when they hit us with the spotlight, and I'm standing there with my arms up in the air, like, "What are you guys doing?"
I've always kind of wondered about that too. Like on the
What do you think they
spotlight
say?
shooting
Like,
them,
oh shit!
what does it look like when you're lit up by that many lumens? There's a tripod and a guy going, huh?
Yeah, they were cool about it though. They took off. They knew what was going. They took off in a hurry.
Yeah, too bad they
Well, dude, it's
scared
the same
the
thing out here.
coyotes.
Like, go ahead.
Oh, we had two
We had
coyotes
two coming across the road
coming
from
across
the
the
neighboring
road
property.
when they pulled up.
Like they went by, the dogs were still coming, and we're watching them over this field, and they get to the road, and here they come back, and then them dogs stop and turn around and the other way. And I was like, shit. That's one of our good spots too. They come from both sides of the road, and it's a good time.
Yeah, but
But-
right there, I mean, in your guys' mind, you're going, okay, well, something's different. Why'd they freaking do that? And then all of a sudden, of course, spotlights pop up. Something's going on. Something's not regular out here. This is one of our good spots, one of our honey holes.
Yeah. We tried to hit that one late.
Yeah.
The only traffic that's going to be out there is them, really. And because some of our spots, the traffic is like
Nonstop. Yeah.
And I don't think it hurts the coyotes.
No.
It's just super annoying.
No. Yeah.
Unless
we were all
unless
talking
they're
about last
crossing
time
the road,
when you were
then they
explaining
do.
it.
Right. Unless
You
they're
know, like that's what your guys' dogs are used to.
right. Yeah. We shot quite a few out of there this year. 4 or 5,
Yeah.
I think. And it's not much.
No.
Some of our best spots aren't that much. They're just, but it has nothing to do with the size of the field. It's the habitat. And
No, exactly. I'm really glad that you said that because that's a very like level example of even compared to right out here. Like I have a handful of places that like, what I'm talking about. We have 100% type stands and types of areas in types of terrain. Like one of our favorite places to go that always absolutely produce. As long as you go there, pretty much. If you're bringing a guest, that's one thing, but you can't bring another experienced hunter that has their own call that wants to do their own thing. In those types of areas, you have to have that convo beforehand, like, hey, look, and even if you have to, first of all, and if there's an argument, then you should probably never ever take them there in the first place. But we all have those places where, even if it's one animal, those are our 100% honey holes. We all have those. And it's always kind of interesting because like, especially the extended conversation that we all had between you and I, the last time we all spoke, what's interesting to me coming from the west part of the country is I still have all those places. And to me, I can be like, I'm gonna spend money on this gas and these burritos and such. But I know when I get out there before the sun comes up, when I get set up, I know I can get one here because it's extremely perfect freaking type territory. And it's really interesting hearing from you guys coming from these, like, dude, we have like these, 2 to 5 to 10 acre parcels, and then maybe 2 over we can't work with. And you guys still have on your end, well, we still have our own kind of like honey holes too. And every single time that we go out, and you're not trying to save them either. You're not trying to do contest stuff or anything like that. It's just over the years, you still have that experience of every single time we go out, as long as we set up right and we do our work on our end, we can still pull at least one coyote out of this piece of territory. It's really cool hearing that from you guys.
yeah, it's definitely a thing. I feel like we've evolved a lot this year. with our goal of trying to do more hand calls than e-collar stuff. Not that we don't love our e-collars. They're great. It's a tool, like Brian says, just like his calls are. But I think doing more with less is way more of a challenge.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yep.
and you brought up suppressors. Now they're legal where you are, which makes you a cheater. We have to.
I still see that grin on your face.
Oh, it's there. It's definitely there. We actually we can pull off doubles, and a lot of times, like we've done it this year, where it's if it's super windy, they don't know where it's coming from.
No.
Yeah.
They have no idea. Like we poke one, and maybe we didn't get the second one, but we tried, and they just kind of circle out, and they don't, just dash and run off. We try not to shoot at running coyotes. Well, I guess I say because I'm the guy that does. Well, Pierre does it too.
I don't shoot it right.
Yeah, Josh doesn't. Pierre does. He's
won't
right
do
with
it.
me. He'll ting, 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 ting. He'll just keep going.
I've done it once and I missed by a lot. So I know I can't do it.
Yeah, that double that the triple that we shot off Pierre's spot, I shot the one, and literally 2 minutes later, the other two came out, and Pierre hit yours. No,
He hit his first. Mine
yeah,
didn't, because mine
didn't
jump.
stop.
Mine didn't
Right.
jack up.
but it circled around, didn't go anywhere. I was like, and I seen Pierre swing over on it, and I'm like, wait, just calm down. Calm down. I know it's moving.
Easy.
Just wait. It's gonna stop. It's gonna. But learning body language is huge in coyote hunting. It's huge.
Always 100%. That's always gonna 90%. Well, I mean, shit. It's always pretty much gonna determine if you whether you have a pair or above coming
Right.
in. After that, whether you're suppressed or not,
Right.
and outside of like shotgun work, that's the experience of learning their body language after years of watching them daylight hunting in the field. That's what's going to determine, like, hey, well, do I dump this mag? And obviously, no offense, Pierre, I understand, sir, but it's a lot easier said than done too.
It's
When you're
super
sitting
hard.
there and you've invested so much.
Oh, yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. I was that guy. Brian reformed
We-
me.
Dude, honestly, I think I would love to meet the guy that said I wasn't, and I never, experienced that. I would never do that because honestly, I'd be like, I would call bullshit.
Yeah, I definitely. I was all about that. Like we'd shoot one, and the guys would stop shooting, and I just keep going.
No, seriously, yeah, no, you're totally right. Because I mean, even on my end, after 13 years, like even now, like I've made that small transition of, we're just talking about day hunting. If I watch one come in from 25 yards, if one was bedded down in the wind, or I watch one come from, 800, out in my territory type long distance, that's the very only small transition I have learned. And that took experience of, once I do make the shot and I put that animal down, even after that, to this day, I'm still a little shaky,
Yeah, it's hard to get over.
I've been doing it for 10 years.
I don't ever want to get over it whatsoever.
No,
I hope that always stays.
I still
When
get
that goes away, that's where I'm going to be a little spooked.
Yeah,
I still get the shakes after I knock one down.
he can
Yes,
hear
sir.
it in his voice. But I mean, we all do. My heart pumps. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't do it if it didn't get you going.
No, it's
It's
one of the greatest parts about it. It's you go through the learning phase and the experience phase, and you spend enough time with those animals in the field, and you start picking up. It's like, well, I can't do this next time, and you remember it, but then next time you go, so it takes a couple years, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that from like 23 months ago. Okay, I can't do that again. So you start making those. You start maturing as a coyote hunter.
use that loosely.
I think we have.
Sure. You think we've matured?
Oh, yeah,
Wow,
definitely.
maybe. Thank you. No, I again, it's the calling thing for me. I say it all the time. I like making a sound and having an animal respond to it. That's what it's all about. And
No,
you watching
yeah,
them come in, and when they stop, like say they check up, and you see, like learning, like looking for weight transfer to know if they're gonna turn and go back or which way they're gonna turn or whatever. Like when you start noticing that stuff and being patient and let them work, if they're coming and working in, let them do their thing. It's just gonna make it easier for you. And that's a lot of times, like in the beginning, something would come out, we just fire at it. It would stop for a
same here.
millisecond, pow. And like now it's like, okay, just let it do its. We had a couple this year that came long distance, and that's even worse because now you're patiently waiting for this thing to come in and trying, fingers on it, fingers on the trigger, you're ready, and trying to keep your composures. It's like adds to the rush,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Well, that situation for you, on your guys' end, what do you mean long distance?
500-600 yards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we can't see much, usually much more than that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, and that's why I asked.
Well, we'll get eye shine.
well, that, or if with a thermal, we can see them in the woods.
Yeah.
But other than
Yeah.
that, I mean,
Right. We only have a couple that are that big.
well, up north is way bigger.
Oh yeah. If you go up by Brian's, oh my God.
Well,
You,
well, not that far north. Our
oh,
north.
our north.
Our
Yeah, that
north.
one's pretty big.
Yeah, that field's pretty
That's
big.
that's a solid 8 to the north side, and then if you look east,
Oh, you're probably
yeah,
well over 12.
yeah, but it's like field, tree line, and that's like hunting up to Brian's,
Yeah.
where you call and you see a tiny bit of heat on the forest field starting to move around, and watching them work in. That's super nerve wracking.
And then even if you guys, if you haven't seen it in the day, like how many low spots, like, and we all know, like it could take like a 16 inches for them to be like, oh, here they come, and then where'd the ghost
Disappear.
go?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, rollers. Yeah, and then
Yep.
especially with your thermals, right? Because there's no heat no more.
Yeah.
At
Yep.
least with night vision, if you're watching them come in from ways off and they're bouncing, like, and they're getting up over the roller, you'll get the eye shine, just on, off, on, off, on, off. But when you're strictly thermal, you might see heat, but it's happens so fast. I feel like it's easier to see the eye shine than the heat at that point.
Oh no, I think you have a really great point right there. Is like, especially if, like, my unique example in my head is if there's a coyote hunter out there that has, a majority of his experience is daytime hunting, and I'm saying this from personal experience. And he gets into night hunting, and he starts, outside of envy, he goes complete thermal. You really, really have to be careful. Like, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, one of the very first times after I got my very first thermal going out, you know, got the whole setup going, great spot and all this stuff, and we're calling, and I caught heat, and I got these big old ears. And, I was just talking to, my girlfriend about this because she just started getting into it. And it was one of my very first lessons was the hard part is the frickin' depth perception.
Oh,
And I think that's
100%.
what, well, there's two things actually that, were really important to me that I learned. Um, A, depth perception. And number two, being able to relate your daytime experience to that specific animal, the coyote, if you're going to hunt them at night, if you're a brand new beginner. Um, if you're not used to thermal, that depth perception, even if you have a rangefinder, and that's another thing, a little side note too, is like you could press that button and be like, oh well, it's 86 yards. You see those big ears? Well, it's a fox, and you need to keep that safety on and learn a lesson. And I cannot believe there's actually stories out there not only for cattle, which is horrendous to me, but even on top of that, um, folks getting shot at.
Oh yeah,
You know,
sure.
like, and I get the whole, like, the popularity, and we all understand, like, being out there at night and you pick up a heat signature, and oh my god, it's like, oh, there's something, and it's like, I cannot believe, because getting shot at in the daytime is spooky enough, but this whole night thing is really kind of interesting when you hear those stories across the country.
Uh,
And
like how could?
the cow thing,
Well, not only that, not that.
that is not a coyote.
Like, and neither is a
Person?
person standing there on the edge of the woods or out in the middle of the
Is
field.
that a
Like,
kangaroo? What
like
the hell is that?
it's clearly something standing on two legs.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
5.5, 6 feet tall.
Right.
Like, why? How? Where in your yeah, you shouldn't be out there.
Well, that's and
No,
thermals.
no,
Thermals are
it's a
getting more
it's a
affordable.
great point. Like, this, I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir again here, but like, if you've been around cattle, we all know, whether it's with light shine or thermal, especially. I mean, I don't know how you do that with thermal, but I'm trying to like lowball it with light shine. Like, you see the spread between the eyes, and
Yeah.
like he was just saying, if you're in thermal, how do you not tell that's not a living, like, human freaking being? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But it also kind of puts in the back of your mind, like, how popular this stuff is getting. Well, I can either not be a night hunter anymore, or at some point in the future, probably expect at some point like a hiss and a pop past my ear,
I don't.
which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Return fire.
Well, I mean, we all think about that, but the smartest thing to do would be like, just get your ass as low to the
Low.
ground as possible.
It
you know,
happened. It happened to me and Rusty one night. We were on a field, and we were calling, and shots rang out, and they were close. And I laid on the ground,
like
and he.
flying through the air or hitting the ground around
Well,
you.
I mean, we just heard gunfire. All
Mm.
right. So you're standing in the field. There's a tree line to our right, and we're looking at this hillside, and there's a cornfield on the other side of that tree line, which we can hunt. But we were in this one. We were in this particular field that night. And anyway, and we're sitting there calling, and we're calling, pausing, and all of a sudden, fucking bow bow. You know what I mean? Simultaneously, and I just laid down. And boy, I wish we were recording that. Rusty said some words. Let me tell you, he was like,
We couldn't
and
post that.
oh man, he was. We were packing gear up and in the truck and going up the road. We ran into the guys, and they had permission to be there, which was one of those farms where everybody gets permission. And
Oh, one of those types.
yeah, I don't even hunt it no more. After,
I wouldn't
especially
either.
after that, because it is not worth it to me. You know what I mean? And these guys had gear, like they had helmets.
They were set up.
Yeah, they had. I mean, it was nice stuff. I mean, do I think they would have shot me? No. But they didn't know we were there, and we didn't know they were there. And at night, that is super, super fucking dangerous.
I mean,
And
yeah, it's like,
that's why I don't hunt
you
it no
understand
more.
to a certain point, but it's like, yeah, I would never go back to that property again.
It's like
either
I want
whatsoever.
to shoot coyotes, but that it's not worth it to me. And
No,
and
I'm right there with you.
it's just not like. And these guys were from out of state. That was the kicker. And they come here because
Dude,
our season starts before theirs.
that
And
and that's
such bullshit.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
No, no, I totally agree. Like, there's obviously I know a handful of folks around here within 300, pretty much like the whole state, and they're all private, landowners and stuff like that. I obviously I'm not going to name any names.
Right.
I really want to, but I never will.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like, especially when it comes to tournament time, just in November, I got a call from one of our landowners and a fellow coyote hunter too. He reached out. He's like, "Hey, do you happen to know, send me pictures of the truck, the license plate of them, like with their, mouths kind of like spooked open because he pulled up on them super quiet and lit him up with the freaking spotlights on the Jeep and on private property because he got a call from one of his um, neighbors and land that he has for coyote hunting. And like I said, I'm not going to name any names, but turns out it's a certain name that's related to a certain, they were pro staff for a couple companies. And we sat on the phone for close to 40 minutes, and he was so freaking pissed. And I was really surprised. And that was during a tournament. And he's like, I don't understand why they're trying to come out here and do this kind of stuff. I'm like, it was really interesting because you start to think, like, well, where's the transition from, hey, we're going to do contest to maybe help out, wherever the contest is held to help out, these ranchers and farmers and local folks with the coyote problem that they're having. Where's the difference of that mentality when you behave that way to how are you proving to someone that you're not actually out there just to make money? Because if we're going to be out here being coyote hunters and we quote unquote advertise, this is why we're putting on a contest in the first place. But then you behave that way, that's not helping the situation whatsoever.
No. Like, you have an image with that company, and then you go and do something stupid like that, trespass on someone
And
else's land. Like that.
yes, sir.
That's
And what's tough is like you have all the info and you're still not like, you know what? I'm not gonna write that email or make that phone call to this person's like sponsor. It's really a big bummer
yeah.
Yeah, that ain't worth
because
it.
right there, all that is from that point on is you're just doing it to get that dollar in your pocket. You're not actually being a true predator hunter.
Yeah, we've definitely had the same situation, but they had permission,
Yeah.
and that's when I was like, nope, we're done. Well, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll go where I know it's just me, and it all goes back to safety. That's what it is. And it's
Always.
like
Always.
you don't want these, if these mishaps start happening, it'll be the end of it. You
No,
know,
exactly. Like,
thank God it
it's
really hasn't. I've never really heard of anything around here other than our experience. And like, there was no. I mean, to be honest with you, they told us they weren't shooting our way, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I have no idea.
if it was enough to make you lay on the ground, that's more than close
Right.
enough.
Well,
And
you know what
that's
gunfire's
wrong.
like when it's close to you. I mean, it's distinct. It's not something, and that's just instinct. What to do? I just laid down. I just whoop, right down,
Yeah, no, I would have done
take
the same
cover.
thing.
It's like again, and when we confronted them, and they were nice guys, and they had
They
pulled.
were.
Yep, they were nice. They pulled their phone up and they're like, "Listen, we have permission. Here's our permission. We have a list here from the landowner of people we might run into." And we were on the list, but so were like
No
15.
shit.
So were 15 other people. And I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
I had
That's a
no
no-go
fucking
property permanently.
idea that many people, and I know, like we explained to the farmer, we're like, listen, it's your land. We appreciate you letting us on it. You don't have to, but this is a safety thing now, and we're just going to
Yeah.
walk away because
Yep.
we don't want to end up in the paper. What if
Nope.
something happens and we mess up? Like, we take all these steps to be careful, but shit happens, okay? And I would never be able to live with myself, you know?
Well, no, well, even worse than that too. Like you were kind of talking about earlier, it's always in the back of our minds is, what if it does turn into a situation where, say it is, for example, a new hunter and, you do like, put belly to grass and you're still getting popped at. It's
Oh,
like, well,
well, that's
at this point, you know what I mean? And that's the very, small percent, type situation.
right.
But um that it's always creepy. And there's another portion of that too. I'm just talking about it from, the Western United States kind of part of it is outside of, when we sit down, and I know you guys got bears and owls, but out here it's, when we sit down, we have to, a smart predator hunter anyways will be like, well, I know when I sit down, I press this play button or I hit this hand call, I know I'm calling in, trying to call in more than one thing. Um, what's more spooky to me too, and it's very rare, but it's something that I think if you don't think about it, you'd be an idiot. Is there's also, depending on time of year, whether it might be, especially out here, we only have a certain turkey population, but we have, mule deer and stuff like that. There's also those folks out there that, depending on their life situation, whatever the case may be, there's also folks out there that don't give a damn about a freaking hunting license. They don't give a damn about time of year. So that's always on the back of my mind too. Every single time I sit down and I either grab a hand call or I press a play button. There's more than two predators that I'm concerned about.
Yeah. I don't. We've called other e-callers. That's a
You,
thing.
you guys never have?
No, we have.
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool.
And like we would make a sound and they responded, and
Oh
and
man,
I noticed I knew the howl, and I'm like,
it's so freaking, it's so creepy, dude.
so then we were messing with them, and I was like, okay, that's enough. Like we're obviously,
Yeah.
and who knows,
Well, you
maybe
guys got
something.
bigger balls than me. Holy crap!
Yeah, I mean we had eyes on them. We had a general, not completely, but we had a direction, and I messed with them a little bit, mainly because I was pissed. But in the same breath, did they have permission to be where they were? They were just on a neighboring field,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is here. We might have this field and this field, but we don't have the two other ones.
Yeah, you guys don't have too much of a choice.
No,
Yeah.
no, we hunt tight spaces, tight.
But still, just to mess with them, like,
Yeah,
man,
I couldn't help myself. It's
that's a
like
dangerous territory.
there was a 10-year-old holding the remote at that point. That was e-caller days, and I was like, "Oh fuck this," like
Oh hell!
I'm gonna have some fun, and then we laughed, but it's happened. We try, and like here's the thing, and we say this all the time, and there's people in our area that watch us that we say it all the time. If you hunt near where we hunt, that's fine. Or a lot of them, they're just us. So there's nobody. If we run into somebody on a piece of property, they're going to get told to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because we have permission to do that from the landowners. But if you hunt around us, we've said it a million times. Reach out. Let's work together. So everybody has fun. Everything is, good. Everybody's safe. Like we are not the hunters that are gonna be like, oh no, get away from us. You know what I mean? And there is guys that are like that won't. We tell people, we could keep all this stuff with the hand calls and Brian Rush and all. We could keep all that to ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, that could be a big secret of
We don't have
ours.
to tell nobody shit. You know what I mean? Like, or Roy, our fucking decoy. We have a decoy that we use for the bright nights, and it works. And we could keep that to ourselves too, but we don't. But there's people out there that are like that, which is unfortunate. But
no, I totally agree. And like when I came up with it, when at least when I got started with it, that was the mentality. That was the thought process. Like, well, don't talk about calibers, don't talk about how to call, yada yada yada. That's what's kind of cool
yeah,
about our position
let's
is
not talk about calibers.
we're yeah, yeah, I get it. 223 boy. Um, oh, that's right. You're short range. That's perfect for you. But that's kind of our thing is like that's where we can make that little bit of change. Having being experienced is hey, it's okay to whatever you saw, whatever you read, whatever you watch, it's okay. Come on in. Like we're not that way. Dude, get into this stuff. We're like, we need you to back us up because you're going to be the next rotation.
Yep.
We want to show you some stuff.
What was it last episode, or maybe it was? I can't remember exactly, but like, find you're getting into it. Find someone in your area that does it, that's willing to give you some pointers.
Yeah, mentor you.
Yes, sir.
It'll save you
Because
a lot of time.
We didn't have that.
No.
Well, I mean, Rusty had a lot of experience and hunted with him
Well,
quite
no,
a bit.
he has a great freaking point. It's like right there. I mean, just right there alone is you can inspire someone. Be like, hey, I even if when you're brand new getting into it, like, can you imagine like what it's a lot better nowadays. But if they come across some of the OG stuff, it's like, well, don't tell people but it's like, or use a 30 odd. It's like, no, like, hey, come over here with us. Like, it's not that crazy. Like, we want you here. We're not trying to like actually come in. We don't want to scare you away. And here, this is what we learned over the past, 5, 10, 15 years, 13 years. Like, check this out. Like, just try this. And also, like he was saying, do not spend 19,000 freaking dollars. You don't need to do what they're doing on the YouTube video that you watch. Like,
Right.
call this individual, spend 34.99 and get this like the basics, and get your ass out into the freaking field and go have some fun.
And that we something that we push a lot is if you're going to get started, you don't know if you're going to be into it. Get a scope with a red light and a
Exactly.
thermal scanner. Thermals,
Yes, sir.
their resale is pretty decent.
And I use thermals for everything. A deer hunt, walking in to our deer hunt spot.
Right. It's a very versatile tool.
You can use it for anything, anything.
So
And also on top of that too, just to kind of feed off what you're talking about is like I go use the OG stuff just so like when you get to if you get to that point, like you have a custom rifle, you have full thermal, like you have the whole freaking night setup, right? Hopefully you're an experienced like daytime hunter, but go use the OG stuff and then get that stuff, then buy that stuff,
Yes.
then purchase that stuff.
yep, learn like the body language. It's easier to
'Cause,
see in either a red light or a night vision scope.
Depth perception.
Depth perception.
Exactly. Do the freaking work. And then also, like, not only are you going to learn and you take that experience for the nighttime stuff and you can pass it off to somebody else, but also you kind of have that, in the future, you have that ability to, kind of brag a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
remember one with lights.
Yeah. Make those stories, those memories. This is where I started. This is where I am now. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Well, like for you guys, even though you told me, but since we're on air, Carl, picking you out, what was the one thing you were like, you know what? I really actually truly want to start hunting coyotes for this one specific reason.
Why I started? Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
I have a beef operation, and it's very small, but I lost a newborn. I got to the farm. I've told this story before. Got to the farm, and it was calving season, and I had one pacing the back fence line just screaming, a mother. And you spend enough time with cows, like when they're off by themselves, they're usually getting ready to dump a calf, and that's what they do. They'll leave the herd, and and she was just out there, not and it's a body language thing too, because like when I pull into the farm, it's so weird. Like I pull my truck by the barn and they know it's me. Like my dad can drive around there and they don't care. They don't make a sound.
Mm-hmm.
But when I pull in there and park, they just start going nuts because they know that it's dinner bell, and it was in the morning, and it was a fall time of year ish. I think it was early September, and she was just pacing. Now I go through and I'm doing all my stuff, and she just continued to pace, and she would bell her a little bit and pace, and I'm like, man, something's not. I'm gonna go look.
Sums up.
Something's up. So I went and looked, and as I got closer to her, I could see that she still had afterbirth coming out of her, and I'm like, okay. Well, she's up, so she's not having. If they're having trouble calving, they're not going to be up. They're going to be down. She's up. She's very much agitated. She has afterbirth. Her bag is dropped. She's tons of milk. You know what I mean? So there's a calf here somewheres. Now, I was actually talking at the farm office where I report my crops. I was talking to them the other day because they're going to do some fencing for me. But I've seen vultures pick on newborn calves. Like they'll come out and they just, they don't know how to really walk yet. So they'll get cleaned off
Yeah.
and lay down in high grass, and the birds will come in and try and eat them alive. And I was telling the people over at the farm office that they couldn't believe it. I said, I've seen it. So I see this happening, and I went out there and I looked and looked and looked and looked. And then I got out of the fence and started in the woods looking, because sometimes they come out, wander off, and they don't know where they need to be, or they're just, calves are lazy. They'll just sleep even though the mothers are screaming. And
Yeah.
I looked and didn't find nothing. It took me all day, and then I found what was left, which was, rib cage, front legs, neck, and head. So, it's not a bird. Birds always usually go for the face. And a lot of times if something's laying there long enough and the face is picked apart, that's how you know it's been there a while, because the birds found it and started picking at it. The whole back end was gone. That's a predator of some, in our area, it's coyotes. It's not going to be, like a bear ain't going to do that unless it's already dead, which, is something that crossed my mind, because wasn't there when it was born. I have no idea. I know where I found it, and it wasn't in the pen with the mother. It was outside the pasture in the woods. And that's what started for me. And I was like, man, and then I go down this rabbit hole and start, watching videos that people hunt these things. Like there's a season on them. There's a way to do it. And I, started that night. And I sat in the woods on a carcass with a Walmart spotlight with a folder divider taped to it, so it was red, and a day scope. And that was it. And then we started, I know lots of farmers, and just started putting the pieces together. Like, we have foxes, always mess with our stuff, our birds. Oh, wow, we can hunt those too. Okay. All right. And like for me, like Josh, you can tell he's so pale. He works nights. So he's used to being up all night. Me, I that's the only free time I have is now.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this could really be something. And then that's, I red lights. I had hand calls and red lights. And then I had an old Johnny Stewart that had like 8 sounds on it. And I did
God, you're
daytime.
old.
I did daytime stuff with that. And then that Johnny Stewart, you could put it like 15 feet out in front of you is all you could get out of it. And
Dude, you were rocking the Johnny Stewart daytime?
yeah. I called a fox one time behind the farm, went down in the woods, and I took I used to have a 9mm carbine with a red dot on it. And
Did it scream at you or make you poop your pants?
well, no, so I sat down in this ravine and up against a tipped over tree. So the stump's up, so I tuck in right there, and I took my Johnny Stewart down in the bottom of the basin and put it up in a tree, you know. And I sat there on the ground, no tripod, no fancy gun. It was a 9mm carbine because I had a 223 at that time, but I don't know. I just used that in the woods because you're talking close shots, and I thought it'd be something to try. And I turned a rabbit distress on, and I heard something coming through the leaves, like full on run. And you want to talk about get you? Oh yeah. When you hear 'em, like it gives me chills right now just thinking about it. I can.
Yeah, we know all that feeling, man.
You hear something full on commit running. You don't know where the fuck it's coming from.
You find out you're not truly a badass that you thought you were.
You're like a little bitch. And this fox came from behind me, and I literally heard it running straight at my back, and it went up over my head on the tree stump, jumped down in front of me, and ran straight down into that ravine and sat down at the bottom of the tree and looked up at my Johnny Stewart. And we were both fucking bamboozled. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I shot at him. I never hit him, but that was like my first hard charger. It was a red. And I was like, oh yeah, I like this.
That's a badass experience.
And I've had coyotes so close to me in the dark that you can smell them. Me and Josh, if it's happened, they've come between us. Yep. I was with cousin Chip
same
one
over
night,
here too.
And same thing. I'm calling. We had a left-right wind. We were facing east, so we had a south to north wind, and there's this brush behind me, and it's not much. It's like, I don't know, like a 1/16 of an acre, and there's a road and a barn and an old barnyard, and it's a dead-end road, and I'm calling, and I got my headset on. This was 2 years ago, and I hear that it sounded like a fucking D8 coming through the brush behind me. I mean, it was hard charging, like, and it's so like I froze, and I'm like 10 straight up and froze, and I'm waiting for this thing to show up. I know it's behind me.
When you heard that, did you were you more rifle, or did you kind of think about your pistol?
I didn't think about anything. I got a sour taste in my mouth, like I was about to run into a brick fucking wall. You know that oh shit taste? I got it all. And I reached up to key my mic to tell him what was going on. And when I reached for my button, I just kind of glanced over, and the fucking thing was standing next to me looking up at me.
Oh, dude.
And it was light enough out that I could see it. And that's when I smelled it.
Oh,
and
shit.
You know how coyotes smell. You know what I mean? Like, you know how they smell. So amazing. And this is all like, and it felt like forever, but it was milliseconds. It was like, I had howled once or a couple times, and then I turned the rabbit on, and the caller, the lucky duck, was straight out in front of us, because we have habitat on both sides of us, so they could come from either side. And, I heard that thing coming. I reached up and I look over, and she was looking up at me. Like I saw her like it was my dog standing next to me.
She was ready for your ass.
I mean, like 4 feet, dude. I mean, it was close.
Oh my
like
gosh.
I could have touched it. And when she, and I was I know it was a female because I shot her. When she saw me, she got the oh shit taste in her mouth. And she just runs straight out in front of us. Well, I had my hand on the mic, and I'm like, between us, and my cousin's looking out, whatever, out where the call is, beyond 50 yards. He's looking out there. He's like, we had our thermals, we had night vision, and he's like, I don't see nothing. I'm like, you don't understand.
We don't see anything.
I'm like, you don't understand. I'm like, between us. And he was like, what? And he looked, and I'm looking at her with my rifle, like up, like pointed down as she's running out away. And that's when he picked up on it, and he was like, "Oh shit!" Like he didn't even keep the mic. I heard him say it, and she ran out in front of us and trotted and stopped. And when he said, "Oh shit," she stopped and turned around, looked at us, and I folded her right there. And I was like,
Yep,
"Dude, that thing."
gotcha.
And then right at that moment, he's looking at me with his thermal. There's another one to my right in the brush above me. And he says, "Dude, there's another one next to you." So now I fired. I'm off my rifle. I'm on my scanner, and I see it. And I tried to spin to shoot it, and the thing was gone. But I called a double, and the female. I mean, she was. I smelled her. You know, like
Yeah,
it was.
but that's one of those very unique, like very close range, like type double situations that you really wish that you could be like, especially if there's like a new hunter, you could be like, hey man, like you, there was a way to be like, hey, look, I know you're interested. I really want to show you. Just in your head, I need you to. I don't know how to prepare you for it. There's gonna be like 40 stands that it's gonna be completely pointless. There's gonna be one stand that's gonna blow your freaking mind,
Oh, that'll make you shit your pants. That's.
dude.
And that's
Yeah.
happened between me and Josh. Me and Josh had one come between us one night up the farm road, past from my cow pasture. And we're watching a dog out in front of us, and we're waiting for this dog to move to where we can fire. It was in a bad angle. And we're watching this dog, watching and watching it. And then I heard it. You heard the thump, 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 thump. You could hear it in the ground.
Oh shit.
Like a deer running. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's on his rifle, and I look over, and this fucking thing is 10 feet from me, looking at us, and then looking out in the field, looking at us, looking out in the field, and then it takes off, runs right past Josh, and I'm like, "Did you see that?" And he goes, "Nothing I can do about it." That's all he said. And that fucking dog ran straight out and to the right, back towards the houses. We're watching the one that's in front of us moving left, so we can fire at that one. And he's still on his rifle. He's like, "Nothing I can do about it." And I was like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, we never expected them to come from, and that's the thing. So we never expected them to come from there.
Not only that, that's the road we just walked in on.
Yeah, we just come up that. The truck's parked not that far, and that thing didn't care.
That was fresh scent laid down that whole length of that road.
Yeah.
And it
Plus the freaking truck.
yeah.
And they pick up on scent. Like I went out here at my house, walked out my door, out into the hayfield, out and around, and called a dog one night that came from back towards my house from the state land. And when it crossed the road, went through the fence, and hit my scent on the ground, it was like that thing ran into a brick wall.
Yeah.
And it
Stop. And
stopped,
just-
and it got cautious, and then it was skipping towards the sound I was making, so towards me. But every time it hit my tracks, it would run out and around, run out and around. It was trying to get around it. And I couldn't even fire at it because now I'm looking through my scope and I see my door. And I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. And I had to wait, and eventually it worked its way in, and then it crossed my track. I think it got onto me at that point and crossed my tracks and ran down the field, and I sent one, but I either hit it bad or whatever. It was one of those nights where I was solo and your heart was pounding and you're trying to make good decisions, and it's like
yeah.
it was a shit show, but yeah, we've had them pretty close. That's the fun ones. And you know what? If you sit there and tell me that don't make you jump, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, dude. No. Yeah. If even just telling that story to someone, if they were to be like, well, that ain't nothing. Like, okay.
like they're not going to hurt you, right? They won't. I mean, well, mainly
This guy's never been in the field before.
right. Like they're not. We're not talking wolves. I mean, wolf will go at you, but you're talking something small or whatever. But it's still. I'm going to tell you right now. That sounded like somebody was driving a fucking bulldozer through that brush behind me. And it was sudden.
Oh, dude, I mean,
so that thing was a hard
no,
charger. It was sudden. It was like we're like real fast, and I'm like, and I just tensed up, like I didn't know what to fucking do, and I looked down and it's standing there.
no, even for me, like coming out, like all the places I go, like I was talking about earlier, whenever I sit down, outside of I know I'm calling other stuff, for me, like if there was a random ass like male or female coyote that was, especially this time of year, as soon as I hit the hand call or I press the play button, I'm always fully expecting and have complete respect for, you never know, there might be one male or female coyote that's willing to come all the way in and close that distance to tear your ass up. And I don't care who you are, you're not prepared for that if they actually freaking commit.
Yeah,
It's
wait
still a
till
freaking wild animal.
right. Wait till it's a bear. You want to talk
Yeah,
about an
I've heard stories
experience?
about you guys. Your encounter with bears.
Yeah. Oh, I hate the fucking bears.
Well, close range stuff. Well, not even close range. Another good question would be on your guys' end, with all your stands in your part of the country. What's the most random thing you guys have come across? Like when you've been out, like specifically calling coyotes. Have you seen something like, completely cut your
Like a
track or
like a
like sneak
skinwalker?
up behind? Well,
Don't.
not that
You got
far,
to freak Josh out. Talk
but
about
like more
skinwalkers.
like a unplanned, like very awkward, like never experienced before type coyote behavior.
Odd coyote behavior.
Anything that like stands out in your mind, it's like, whoa, what the hell, or what the heck was? Why did they do that, or why the heck are they doing that,
We've
or
had them come.
what the heck just happened?
You think they're going to circle down when they don't?
Yeah.
They just threw caution out the window. We've had them do that a lot of times. They never got other than walking out over our boots.
Yeah.
We never really had anything too
Like-
crazy.
I gotta say, one of the craziest nights we had, for me anyway, and it wasn't even coyotes; it was the deer.
Oh,
We're over.
What happened with the deer?
Oh man. Okay, so
skinwalkers.
we're over. We're over behind Carl's farm. And
That was Primo's alpha dog days.
yeah, and we're sitting in his cousin's deer stand.
Red lights.
Was it red light?
Red lights.
It wasn't.
I don't believe so.
It wasn't sight mark.
Because it was the eye glow that got you.
Well, yeah, but even with the sight mark,
You know what it might have been is we were scanning with red lights,
it's still scanning with red lights. Yeah. So we're sitting in this deer stand
which is a box truck parked in a hedgerow.
filled with hay bales.
It was comfortable as
Oh
fuck.
yeah, it was a nice. It's a nice setup. But so you can only
Well,
see.
Carl was there. It was nice and warm inside.
Well, no, it's not. It wasn't mine. It's my cousin. But we are family, so I mean, shit happens.
Don't put yourself down, sir.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there calling, and the fog is just rolling in. It rolls out. Fog rolls in, and like so thick you can't see 10 feet.
I can remember this like it was yesterday.
And
So like no bullcrap, like less than like 10 yards you can't see once that fog comes in.
no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
thick.
it was dense fog. So for whatever reason, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna play some fawn distress." I'm like, all right, whatever.
Oh,
We'll-
shit.
we haven't seen any coyotes. We'll see what happens. Well,
The woods have eyes.
oh my goodness. There was like 9 does that were like, hey, something is wrong and we need to go inspect this. And they just start coming out of everywhere.
Hard charging.
Oh shit.
So red
Okay, I see where
eyes,
this is
red
going.
eyes, hard charging from fucking everywhere.
Everywhere.
Every corner you could think of.
It's just,
Oh hell.
I can't believe no deer got shot that night. I really. You want to talk about keeping composure?
yeah. And it just, with the fog coming in and out, and it was,
Red eyes running at you from. That's all you
That
can
would
see.
be-
That is all. That's why it's skinwalker. That is all you can see. Is
That
the-
would be an experience and a half, man.
is these, you hear this fawn distress
Oh, crap.
going, and you got like fuck. Here's goosebumps on Josh's arm right now.
oh,
And you have these deer. I mean, you want to talk about? They were pissed,
yeah.
and he's turn it off, turn it off.
Oh, man. It was,
They
like,
came from
dude.
everywhere, and I'm like, it's all right. They're just deer.
yeah, I don't know. It's just one of the creepiest nights we've ever had for me.
Yeah, even if your friend's telling you, hey, it's all good. These are just deer. If you put me in like 10, 15 like feet of distance, like being able to see into the fog, and I start seeing that stuff and it's moving towards me,
Yeah.
then my mind's gonna start shifting a little bit.
You hear safeties click off. Cousin Chip
Well, more props to
almost
you for keeping your safety on.
Yeah.
cousin Chip almost destroyed a mouse one night in a hedgerow. It was sight mark days, and that's when his wouldn't turn on. And we were out there, and we get set up, and we're trying to get this scope on, and I'm calling, and God, it sounded like a Sasquatch running through the fucking woods. It was behind us, and he's like, "You hear that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I hear it." And like it would move, you know, and then it stopped. And the next thing I know, like it kept getting louder. Well, the fucking mouse was in the leaves,
Oh
milling
shit!
around, and he spins around in his tripod. His scope won't even turn on. He spins around. He's like, "Oh, dude." He's like, "It's all ears, dude." And I'm like, and I'm looking, trying to find it, and come to find out it was a mouse. Didn't sound like a mouse.
Well, it was like the night up on the road. We had that coon walk through the brush line. Right
Oh my
behind
God,
us.
dude, fucking Rocky. Oh man, we're set up on his tree line calling, and we hear something coming, right? And we're like, it's one of those nights where you think you're gonna have a coyote, on your feet. And
Yeah.
we hear it, and it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and you just hear it, and we're frantically looking, frantically trying to find this fucking thing, and this raccoon comes out, and he comes out right between us, and he stopped, and he looks up, and he looks at me, and he looks at Josh, and he fucking took off. But goddamn, when that little fucker come out of the brush behind us. It was diaper change time, man. I was shitting my drawers.
Well,
Creepy.
it's that was one big thing that I learned, especially just because the majority of the time I'm hunting by myself, and I always have. It's either been like we've all talked about before, throughout the years, bring someone along, and it's you learn. I don't want to hunt with the people anymore. More, the majority of the very important lessons I've learned is hunting by yourself, and that's all really daytime. When it comes to nighttime stuff, over the past 3 years, I've learned a hell of a lot more. Even when it comes to somebody that you are close with and trust, I've learned that you really have to, if you're going to do that in the first place, you should have a really good, solid baseline. Um, because that's the difference. A majority of folks, they're just for like fun hunting, for example. It's like, well, hey, do you want to go? Yeah, I'd love to go with you. And just like you're talking about, is a majority of people are not adjusted mentally to that kind of stuff. It's like, you could be
It
saying
is a
like on
mental,
my end, for example,
right?
you could be out here in the desert, and it's like you could see for miles, and they hear like a freaking gopher or an owl hit a whatever, and their brain isn't used to that.
No.
And if you have them on the gun and you're the one calling, you have to you learn pretty quick, so it's really kind of interesting. But
That's a whole
man, oh
nother.
man.
That's a whole nother angle. Is like the new coyote hunter, because we had a situation here in town, and I don't know all the.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I know what you're talking
I
about.
don't know all the details, but I do know it
Oh
is a
god, how
fact.
bad is it?
Oh,
Some youngsters wanted to coyote hunt, so they ended up because I was getting phone calls when the call went out over the scanner. They went out and set up a pop up with lights, and we're calling, and their lights went dead. Well, the coyotes responded, so
Mm.
they literally called 911 to have somebody come out and get them, that they were surrounded by coyotes and were too afraid to move because they didn't. And, hey, it sounds funny. It is. It's super funny. And hopefully someday they laugh about it too. And I'm not
We can
knocking.
all laugh at it as predator
Right.
hunters.
Because we've all experienced it with fucking mice and owls and all this stuff. They had
And
to.
even the rest of us, even to this day, like if
Right.
we're out there by ourselves and we get freaking howls all around us,
Yeah.
we're still, I ain't gonna lie, we're still
Yeah.
kind of going, holy crap.
Yeah. It's like if you're going to get into coyote hunting, prepare yourself for that. Go outside your house, leave your flashlight home, go for a walk. Go for
Go
a
do it in
walk.
the dark.
Go do it in the dark. Just go out and go stand in a field. Don't take a gun with you. Do it without a gun, so that you even feel even more vulnerable. I mean, we carry
Yep.
sidearms and stuff now, and even with our thermals, it's kind of a crutch. We can see pretty much everything, but we weren't always like that. But these youngsters, they had to be retrieved.
No shit.
I don't know if they ever went hunting again.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
Thanks for telling me that.
it fucking happened here, and because I
Somebody
got
had to call in the Coast Guard to rescue some brand new coyote hunters. Interesting.
yeah, they had to get pulled out of there. Which and if there's anything that can be learned from that, this is when you find a mentor to take you, somebody who has experience. To like, why the hell? Like, I understand why they wanted to use a pop-up line, but now you have limited sight distance that you can even see.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had
Dude.
coyotes so close to us that, it's uncomfortable. I can't imagine
Dude,
not being able to see
we
it.
all have.
Right.
And you made the greatest point right there is, first of all, it's so badass that, just thinking that they were interested in the first place. But
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
going back to what I was saying, I really wish that there was some other way, even though we have the most badass tools to, extend our reach, so to speak, with the internet and social media and all that stuff, like just that situation right there would be cool for them to, you wish they would have been like, before we do this or we buy this or whatever the case may be, like, well, let's reach out or try this, Facebook's out, so we could take them out at the nighttime, because majority of folks are not used to the nighttime stuff.
No.
They would have had a different experience, and
Yeah.
we could have been like, hey, it's okay. You're not going to get swarmed like they're a pack of freaking wolves, like,
Right.
and you
Yeah,
can have a lot of fun with this, and you can help people out.
Yeah, they should have definitely mentored with somebody.
But how long is that going to take for those young men to be like, and especially when they get older, by the way, they're going to be like, we freaking called 911 for freaking
Yeah.
getting surrounded by a pack of
It's like that bear story here at my house. This was before podcasts. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I put the kid at that point, to bed, and went out on the front step, smoked a cigarette. Well, I'm in my shorts. You know what I mean? I live in the country. So, and I had heard banging out there. I thought it was just the wind banging on the garbage cans. Didn't think nothing of it. And I go out there and I'm smoking and I look and I'm like, son of a bitch, the garbage cans are knocked over. I didn't think it was that wind. There's like no wind. And I'm like, that's weird. And so I walk down there, my slippers, and pick the cans up. Well, the cans are covered in claw marks. Like you could feel where they had peeled the plastic. And I pulled my phone and turned the flashlight and look, and you see muddy bear prints with claw marks in my garbage cans. You want to talk about, you got to clean your drawers. I, unarmed, in my shorts, reversing myself to the door with the worst oh shit feeling you've ever had in your life. And to come inside, I geared up and grabbed my red light and my night vision and went out, and I'm scanning, I don't see nothing. Got dressed. Then I went upstairs and I'm just like freaking out because I know we have bears, but I've never had a run-in with them at this point. And that was my first experience. And I shined my sniper hog around outside from the window upstairs, get an elevated position, see what I'm looking at or what's out there. And all I see is two sets of eyes in the tree line directly across the road from where the garbage cans were. Now, if you're talking distance from cans to where they were, 30 feet. behind my mailbox just going at a bag of garbage. And boy, that'll make you. Whew. That was my first bear experience. And I never fired at them or nothing. I just let them do their thing. But, ooh, And it's like those are things, if you're going to go out in the dark, you need to prepare yourself for. Depending on where you live, and it's always in the back of my mind, early season, let's say towards, well, like middle November. That's when we see a lot of bears. I feel like they're going to start moving around or getting to places where they're going to sleep. And that's when we see a lot of them, and keep all that in mind. And like a lot of times when we went coyote hunting, we always stood by a tree line.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that no more. And it's not because we're afraid of bears or anything. We just don't see the point. But like, how many times do we stand by a tree line and hear shit walking around behind you?
Yep.
And you have to keep your composure. You don't want to run for the hills. And like even when we were deer hunting, we were kids. We got turned loose to go walk to our tree stands in the woods. We weren't allowed to have flashlights. Like Dad'd be like, "You don't need a flashlight. There's the trail. You know where you're going. Walk it." And he made us do it, and that's where, it kind of helped in the long run. But
On your
super
guys'
sketch.
end, do you because I know you guys have a lot more, bigger trees and vegetation, and especially terrain. And I think we've all maybe possibly talked about this before, but especially when it comes to nighttime hunting, um, what do you guys do? Like, if you had to pick like three top rules, you know, regardless of time of year, on your guys' end, your part of the country, what do you guys kind of keep specific for night hunting that you always hold true to for night hunting, whether it comes to keeping like a rolling patch or a patch of trees, or keeping like right on the edge of a line of vegetation over an open area? Or is there like three top rules that you guys always kind of stick by for night hunting that maybe somebody can learn if they listen to your guys' podcast?
Um. Well,
That's like really important to you that you always
the
always
number
always
one
super duper like stick by.
the number one rule shooting in the dark with us is your vectors of fire. So it's not really stand setup, related, but knowing that when the shit starts to happen, you stay in your lane, and that's a safety thing. That's a lot of things there, but like as far as setup goes, we used to tuck in a lot when it was bright out. We don't do that no more.
No.
I don't see the need. You want to
You never
keep.
saw a difference like in the numbers or the
No, I
the way
think.
coyotes responded?
No, I think like. Well, okay. Now that's a key point, but I'll get to that. Topography. You kind of want to be as high as you can be. Okay, so you have full line of sight of everything going on around you. You want to be able to see your downwind, all of it, not like set up on a tree line and the tree line is your downwind. Maybe move out a little bit, move away from it so you can see more of it. I think that's super important because they might come into the trees and you might not be able to pick them out of there, but that's going to screw your stand before you start because they're going to
Like
wind
like
you.
regular weather days or like windier days? Have you ever tried to like jump into like a random place you've never tried before? Especially in like what I'm talking about is like windy days. Because I'm talking about the west side over here in Nevada. Have you ever tried to on your guys' end? Um, like the days where you wake up, you're just like, and the wind's freaking like howling through the windows, and you're like, I'm not gonna go out. But you go out, and have you ever thought about like, let's go to this place I've always seen, and it looks stupid as hell, but I'm gonna go lay down in it with my shotgun and see what happens for like the next 23 minutes.
I mean, we don't do a lot of day calling, which I would love to do more of that. We just never have time. But um, there's been situations like that where we try. If it's super windy, we might pick a certain stand because there'd be a wind break,
Gotcha.
a natural wind break where it's a little calmer. The only difference I've seen with coyotes and say on like bright nights is we've talked about this before with Brian. It's not the fact that they can see you. They can see good, but it's not that. They pick up movement. That's how they hunt.
Yes,
That's
sir.
how they locate. So if you're out, we used to tuck in when it was bright, and you can. It does. It in a way it will help you, to have. But you might not even be tucked in, but out in the field far enough. Like how many times have we been out in the field and turn around or I go out put the call out or Josh does, and he turns around and we'll say it to each other. We'll talk to each other like, yeah, we can't see any silhouette because there's trees behind you that kind of mask your silhouette. But
Yep.
the biggest thing with them is movement with them. If you're double and there's two of you, one goes downwind, one goes upwind, try not to move around a lot. They pick up on
Well,
movement.
whether it's day or night,
Day or night, yes. Yeah.
and you guys have talked about it too on one of your previous podcasts. It's I don't understand. Well, I do, but I don't. Is our human mentality of like, well, we're under the cover of darkness now, and there's no full moon. Like, well, we can get away with whatever we want. Well, that's why you got one or two coyotes for 12 hours of fuel and gas station food and phone calls to the wife.
Right. Yeah, I don't
It's
never seen a pattern if that's what you're I mean, they're either there or they're not.
I've
You know.
noticed an uptick in the amount of numbers in the bed of my tundra compared to my initial mentality of being a beginner night hunter. Of oh no, yeah, well, I'm fine. I have this experience of this many over a decade of daytime hunting experience, and there's no moon out tonight, compared to treating my nighttime every single stand when I set up my tripod and going through the motions of noise control, how I'm approaching it, doing the recon, doing the preparation, even as simple as it sounds, with zero darkness, being complete, where you're just like, you guys know exactly what I'm talking, where you have your hand in your face and you're just like, I still can't see it.
Right.
Treating that the same way for every single stand
Sure.
as I learned from my daytime hunting days.
Sure. You don't want
And then
to.
all of a sudden, I had one or two more coyotes every, other weekend doing the night hunting stuff while I'm learning. And then that's where it clicks. You're like, oh, okay, now I get it.
So yeah, that goes along with approach, which we've talked about before. You don't want to go you don't want to go in thrashing in there like like you sound like a fucking bus coming through.
Like a dumbass.
Right. Take your time, scan on your way in, be cautious, be quiet. Wind direction. You don't want wind blowing into where you think they might be, but who the hell knows really where they are.
So I've been thinking about this while you guys have been talking. So 3 rules.
Sorry, I talk too much.
No, it's fine. It gave me time to think about it.
Oh.
3 rules
Ooh.
that we typically follow every stand. And it's not like a rule, it's just how we do it. Is we always talk about setup in the truck before we,
Yeah. Where are we going? Where are we standing?
We're looking at maps, looking at wind direction. We want to go to these, say we're going to do 3 stands. We pick 3 spots that work with the wind for that night. So one of our rules will be talk about the stand beforehand, before you even get in the truck, because we sit here hour or more before we even leave, and we'll talk about it. 2, when you're walking in, don't go just charging in there. We'll go 10, 20, maximum 30 yards, and we'll stop and scan. Because there have been so many times that we've walked into the field and there's coyotes. They're laying down. Oh, there's one 600 yards out, just walking the tree line, mousing, doing whatever it is. And the third one, which you mentioned, is knowing your shooting lanes. So if I'm on the left, Carl's on the right, Coyote comes in on the right, he's shooting that coyote. I'm not going to take that shot. If one comes in on the left, that's mine.
Until I shoot at it. No, I'm just kidding. No,
So,
but
like,
have we seen a difference in numbers with these practices? Yes.
yeah, I would say we.
And you would approach it, yes, the same way daytime. Absolutely, you don't want to make a ruckus. You want to be glassing the whole time you're going in. You want to keep your wind in your favor, either in your face or see. It's kind of tough out there because it's so vast the way where you're at that they could be literally anywhere. So you might bump coyotes unintentionally. But yeah, that's a huge growing thing for us and how we've grown
Yeah.
is and it's crazy now that you're bringing this up to even think about it. Like we didn't give a shit about that stuff.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like wind we did, but we weren't as cautious in approach. We weren't,
well, there's another aspect, and it doesn't matter whether it's west or east too. Like he just brought up, which I appreciate you bringing that up, which is really important too. Is I think there's another aspect that I'm still, whether it's daytime or nighttime, I'm always my mind frame doing this for over 13 years now. I'm always, I've learned my lesson of I'm not going to get my ass whipped by a coyote again. I'm always going to be learning until the day I go into the grave. Is He brought up a great freaking point. Is when it comes to the night hunting, there's an aspect I think people don't. Well, let me backtrack. I think there's an aspect people forget, um, especially when it comes to. I'm just thinking from the human standpoint, and we're all badass snipers, right? We've invested so much money in all this stuff, and how we get more numbers overnight. It's all over the country. It's a thing. I think the aspect that is forgotten is we are entering their territory during their time when they're quote unquote supposed to be and mostly active.
Mhm.
With that comes, I think, what people forget is okay, yeah, there's more coyotes on the land. They're on their feet. Um, but they're also, when they're on their feet and they're active during these times that they're supposed to be active, regardless of the part of the country, if they're on their feet, just like the rest of us, we're a lot more aware of what the heck's going on around us. And also with that, if they are, experienced in the sounds of crack, snaps, and pops, some Rice Krispies and crap like that, don't get pissed when they're hanging up at you know, 3, 4, 5, 600 yards and they're sitting down and they're behind a hill, type stuff. Like, of course, you're going to see them, especially in a thermal. But you have to remember, even if you're in complete darkness, you have no moon, and say you did every single thing right. Say you walked in, just for ridiculousness sake, say you walked in 18 miles by foot with just your rifle and a call, and you had your thermal, and you see them doing their normal night thing. You still have to remember, like they're on their feet and they're more attentive than you are right now. You're in their territory, So I think that's where you get the weird thing of like, well, we got 18 for a night. Okay, well, I got you. Can you do that in the daytime? And also, did you do that in a random ass place or did you do that on private land? Because I know plenty of people that cannot do that within 3 weekends out here on BLM land, and we own private land as well, but we're only doing it to protect ranchers, and they understand that we're not doing it for future tournament land. Like, so what are you doing here? So I think that's the difference, is be careful. Like, yeah, you can see him moseying around, but doesn't mean that you're a great freaking hunter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
well, anything with coyote hunting, if you're not learning something, you're not doing it right. I mean, we've been doing it a long time too, and there's
And
times we get in the truck and we're like, wow,
No,
look at
no,
that,
it- Carl, exactly. Like that's the one. Like I said it earlier. Is the most important. It's one of the most important things. Is um, I don't know if anybody else can relate to this. Is I think it took me about a year and a half to get my first coyote, and then I think it was. I was thinking about this the other day when I was driving. I was like, because I remember it stood out. I think it, and I couldn't remember exactly. I think it was year 4, or year 5, or maybe 6, somewhere in there, where it was that little stretch of time where I was like, "Oh, dude, I got this, man. I got this locked down. I got it figured out." And so we're coming up on 10 years, after the fact. It's like, if I go out into the field any day from this point on in my life, and I'm like, which will never happen, but I remember those days where there was that one hunting where that one stand where I was like, nope, I do not have this. I was wrong, because they totally tricked and made your face look like a dumbass. So ever since that point, that was the transition for me where I was like, it's one of the like it's one of the things that brings you back every single, quote unquote season. Not talking crap about you guys, New York boys. Um, it's one of the big attractions. Like, if you get far enough, you realize, like, you thought you got this, and it's going to take one coyote to be like, no, you don't. And then it's a really big attraction. And that's why you hunt until you're freaking 86, being like, could I hunt one more coyote?
Yeah.
Because you're never going to learn. Every single stand, you're going to learn. And that's really important for the
Yeah.
young and up and coming hunters.
Yeah.
It's
It's
one of the very few animals on this planet that will every single time make you look like a dumbass.
I look at the success stories we hear about, and they're like, "Oh, I listened to you guys. I went out, and it took me a couple months, and I shot my first coyote." And it's like, wow, it took us a couple of years.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's a full range. It could take. You could be lucky. Be like, well, dude, I bought a call from Cabela's, and I called in a young pup coyote in like June or July,
Hmm.
within like 3 months. Or, just like all of us, like, it took, you smart ass, took us freaking, almost 2 freaking years.
Yeah, yeah. We and everybody even coming up now, like in our group, we started with red lights, and Pierre hunted with red lights too a little bit. I mean, they all did, but well, not all of them. Some cousin Chip, I think, went right into night vision and then switched to thermal.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of information, and I hate saying it like that, like we actually know what we're talking about, because sometimes I feel like we don't. Um, but the
You should
amount
always
of
take credit for it, though.
I know, but
Yeah, we get schooled quite a bit.
yeah, the amount of information that we've learned and been able to pass on and make people more successful earlier and quicker, huge.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
Well, right there, like, for example, if you were to take, your guys' situation, for example, or take, like, all three of you guys' like favorite, personal cat hunters, and they could have, not even combined, like, I've been hunting coyotes for 33 years, whether it's a short range or a long range. What's interesting is that there's certain like correlations between the long range coyote hunting situation, from like an OG old timer to, folks that have been doing it for, 1, 3, 5, 10 years. There are certain things that also at the same time that are that relate, that are still like kind of current, and that's the important thing, that you can, whether you're a new hunter or an OG hunter, that can pass off as a baseline to anybody that may be interested or has like an ear for, hey, I saw this video or I heard your podcast, and I was thinking about maybe trying this. There are certain things about coyotes, and especially us as coyote hunters, that when it comes to completely experienced coyote hunters, or, newbies, pick your range. There's always something, or two or three or 10, that are relatable between the two, that you can pass off to somebody that may be interested. Just that baseline.
Absolutely. And that's what
And
we
so
try
if
to do. And because
and
we,
if you're going to be that teacher,
yeah,
and if they actually stay interested,
I
then,
use the word
they
teacher loosely.
and they go do that stuff. Eventually, they're going to come across like an OG person, whether it be a rancher or a YouTuber, freaking quote unquote pro staffer. But
Yeah.
they're going to hear certain things if they're that interested, they're going to come across that stuff. It's going to ring a bell, and they're going to be like, "Hey, you know what? That person that told me this, or taught me this, or took me onto the field and showed me this, it still relates," and that's where that connection happens, and that's all it needs,
Yeah, that's what we hope. Anyway,
right?
Yeah.
If you're not sending me licky emojis,
I
That's
can't.
between you guys. I have no
I
idea what's going on here.
Right.
I know you're a busy man, but
He's all flustered about them smiley faces.
is the tip of his cheek still kind of rosy red?
No, I'm sunburnt, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, sure you are. No, fucking guy.
I was going to ask you guys a question, all three of you, if you don't mind me asking. Daytime hunting, your most random, close range, unexpected coyote calling, and how close was it?
We don't really have any. I mean, wow, we don't really have any.
I've never seen. I've never.
We've
I can't
only
say
done.
I've never seen one during the day.
Yes.
I've never called one in during the day.
We've never physically called. I mean, that's something that.
But on the other hand, we've only done it a few times.
Oh yeah, right. A few times.
So-
Gotcha.
Maybe that's a goal for next year. Maybe we try to
Do-
get out there and do some daytime hunts. And
Yeah.
it'd be the thing between we're just geared for the night. You know what I mean? It's like
Gotcha.
yes, our scopes do day and night. We could run them either way. But we hunt from tripods, stand in the field, and that, when you daytime hunt, you got a camo's important. Movement is huge.
Huge.
Because you can get away with more in the dark than you can during the day. And
Scheduling.
scheduling.
Like I sleep during the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Josh works nights.
Well, also just in case, like if any newcomers are listening, possibly you don't need $1,200 worth of freaking sick
No.
to go
No.
hunt.
No. Can't, if you're gonna daytime hunt, good camo, or not even, I wouldn't even call it good. There's like, you see all these different
Just sitting still.
things with camo, and it's like, you don't need
It's
that.
amazing the things you can get away with in the daytime, even out here, like on my part of the country during daytime. Even if the sun and like your wind is bad and you have to freaking face into the sun, it's amazing what you can get away with just not being a dumbass and just moving when you need to. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think that's definite. I mean, just from watching Downwind Outdoors videos over the years, because they did a ton of daytime stuff. And Brian and Andy still daytime hunt.
Mhm.
And they do that shotgun stuff too. But even watching them and how they set up, they would get up high. They would tuck into a tree line. They sat on the ground.
Yep.
And even with their movements, because they always had a camera pointing at them, plus whatever they were shooting at. So you'd see their movements to when they made the shot. So
Yeah.
how they move and how, like, if a coyote gets milling around and takes his attention off you, when to move to readjust. But that goes along with setup too, is being able to get yourself to where you can see all of your down. Because they're gonna. I mean, we've had them hard charge in without circling. It does happen. A lot of times, those are October coyotes,
Yeah,
early
those are-
I was
November.
gonna say. I was gonna assume September, October is for your guys' part of the country.
Yeah, like October coyotes, the young ones that are kicked out and learning.
Ain't got no experience.
No, what did they learn that sound from? As they get older, the mothers bring stuff back that's somewhat alive, so they can experience the distress sounds that it makes. So that's what they're just think about your kid. They're tuned to that. Like, oh, I hear that. That's a dinner bell. Like they know, and that's why it's so easy. Well, I don't want to call it easy, but
No, not easy. Maybe,
I guess that's the wrong word to use.
yeah.
Boy, I don't know what word to use, but it's definitely different early season. Um, but that's movement is huge, even with that.
Yeah.
The younger coyotes, you can get away with a lot more, and
Yeah, of course.
it makes you feel like a rock star for a minute, and then until you miss.
And until you go pick it up and it's only 25
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That
like,
was not as big as I thought it was.
Nope.
right, like we
But what's kind of interesting to me is like the difference between like I'm trying to think like during that very small time frame compared to your guys' territory compared to mine. Like, you know, what is when they're about to drop their teeth and get those adult teeth, what are they used to? I'm trying to think about that from my mind frame being out like in an open desert compared to your type of guys' territory. Like when like your guys' coyotes are getting to that point where they're about to be, well, they got to fend for themselves. What are we gonna grab? We don't have a lot of experience. Like what are their ears kind of attuned to growing up compared to mine out here in the West? Is it more like turkey or raccoon, or is it fawns compared to like out here on my end where it's like, their easy meals are going to be everything from Mormon crickets to grasshoppers
yeah
to,
yeah
you know what I
because
mean?
let's not forget that coyotes love, especially pups, love to train chasing grasshoppers. I've seen it. Um, you'll see them out there. That's what they'll eat tons of grasshoppers. Um, but yeah, I think rabbit. I mean, fawn. We don't use it all that much because of the night in the fog.
Yeah.
But I would,
Because burr.
we've talked about this recently. Is like now that we're using more hand calls, I want more sounds. Now,
Mm.
you can take your Rush Rabbit and change the pitch and the tone, and it sounds different.
The patterns.
Patterns. But I still I want to do more. Like, let's try a fawn distress, but a hand call.
Yeah.
Or birds, do it that way. I just, not to get away from the e-collar, but just to prove that, because you always think as a new hunter when you go out and make a sound, nothing shows up, that you got to jump on Facebook and ask somebody what you did wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And maybe you didn't do anything wrong. They're just not there.
It's also part of our job to, go back to our OG days, and it's our job to be like, no, you don't.
No, they're just not there. If they're there and hear something, something's gonna happen. Curiosity, food, whatever, territory.
Well, the hard part is too for a new hunter is like we can tell them all of our stories, we can tell them all of our experiences, and be like, hey, ABC, we could take them out like 20 times, and if every single stand for those 20 stands are bunk, they're gonna be like, oh, but what sucks is us being experienced is being like, it takes that one stand, and we know that if it plays out even halfway that we, kind of half-ass plan or what we've ever experienced in the past, that new hunter would be like, what the heck just fucking happened?
Right.
Yeah.
And be like, I told you.
Those
you
are the
know?
ones that hook you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we've talked about before, like, how many dry stands do you go through?
A lot.
Before you
I
get.
wish there was a way just on that portion alone to like
Everybody
a new
shows
up-and-coming,
their
like coyote hunter to
success.
be able to teach them or show them like, hey, this is what you need to expect, and it's gonna suck.
Yeah. And it's going to suck for a while.
That's how you know if you're in it or not. If you give up, I went 4 years without shooting something in the dark, and kept
Yeah,
doing it and
exactly.
kept doing it and kept doing it. And I would think like that. Oh, I'm not playing. I need more sounds. I need to buy more sounds. No, no. I think a lot of it in our early days was, approach and wind direction for us.
Just not
100%.
just not knowing.
Just not knowing. I mean, but you don't know. You know what I mean? Like or when we look at our phones and it gives us a wind direction,
Yeah, then you
and
get
we
to,
get there because of topography or water, it's totally different.
yeah.
And then
And
guess what?
yeah,
Yeah, that,
and you were like back then we hunted anyway because it's supposed to be out of the east or
right.
whatever, and it fucking ain't. It's
Yep.
in our face or at our back. You know.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
just
So
gung
I was
ho
gonna tell
about
you
hunting.
guys
But
last time you and I spoke was so my girlfriend, it was her very first tournament, and had everything all planned out. And it was a very small. It was a first annual type tournament. I think there was shit. I still have the pictures and stuff. I think it was like 28 teams. There's one individual I'm chasing over here on the West Coast that I really want to smash. I'm not gonna say his name. But anyways, he included himself in this very small tournament, but the priority was this was my girlfriend's very first coyote tournament, so I was
Oh
going to do
boy.
whatever I could to make sure that this is a good experience for her.
Yeah, because you want her to go
So,
back out with you. You
goddamn
know.
right.
Right.
And she was the one that approached me. So, anyways, obviously I got all kinds of spots all over this freaking state. So it's a small tournament, and that's what I went into it with the mind frame. But I knew there was a hanger on, but I was putting that competition aside. Um, so had everything planned out, and took her out to one of my honey holes, and right even we were there for like 3 hours before this thing. I was cracked out. I was ready to rock and roll because I was so like excited to, she was so interested to go do this. And so we were out there like 3 hours before the freaking sun came up, and they're just howling all around us the whole freaking morning. And then the sun comes up, and we start calling. They're kind of running around, but they're out of range, and she's kind of lit up. And then I was like, okay, well, we're getting to about, we're screwing around for about 4 hours. I'm like, okay, well, we need to either get some or move on because we only have a few hours here because it's a daytime only. And so we get to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I took her to my absolute, guys, my absolute numero uno, my big ass canyon. It's always been 100%. And the wind was down canyon, and so I went shorter than I normally do. And I set us all up, and and here comes a frickin' pair, dude, and a male and female, right down the canyon, man. They were big as shit. You could see them through the grass because they were dark as shit because they'd been there so long because they're fucking old, and they fucking they chirp, howl, bark, and they're coming in. And you know what that wind did? And
Cha-
so
Was it light that
we
day?
left. What's that?
Was it a light wind that day? So it was kind of all over the place?
It was, exactly. It was that shifty son bitch.
Yeah. When it's light and it's shifty.
You know,
And Murphy was driving.
Damn it,
Um,
Murph.
just enough to go across the top of that grass, and it hit him. And I watched him, and just so we left, and
Yeah, it's still
we were
cool
coming
that she got to
across.
see him come in, though. Like,
Well, dude, and so I I was watching the weather radar, and I knew it was kind of maybe going to be crappy in that area where we were at. And I was watching the radar, and there was just a cloudburst coming. It's like Murphy's like capital M, like at the helm at this point. But you're also an asshole, and you're not going to give up. So
yeah, right.
I went into territory I'd never been before, and we're driving, we're listening to Jimi Hendrix, and I come across this like if you saw a picture of it, I'm not gonna try to explain it. You'd be like, oh yeah, I would have stopped there too. And I was like, hey, just roll up the window right there. I can call one from right there. And so we walk out, and I was like, just sit right here. And so she had my daytime rifle, and I had my shotgun, but I wanted my 243. I was like, and I'm lugging this bitch, even though it's like 7 pounds. I know I'm bitching, but so we sit down, and it's still like shifty wind, but it was enough that it's going through this little cut we're in, and I held twice, and I'm watching, and she's just up on above me. I was like, just watch above me. You got this whole thing at 180, and in my right eye, I caught one at like 600 yards, because we're all adjusted, our coyote eye. And I was like, and she's looking at me, she's shaking. She's like, I don't see it. And I was like, this direction. And like it always goes. Before you know it, it's 80 yards in front of you. And I got to give her credit. I kind of stole her shot. It was right, it stopped like 3/4 broadside, looking right at us. Wind was still good, and I just shot because she didn't shoot. You know. And so she told me, she's like, I was not ready for that. And, she was honest. She was like, I don't know how you see that shit. And it's weird how fast that shit happens.
You know,
Them little legs, man.
they can move.
They can cover ground. And
But right there, it's really cool to have someone like instead of like making excuses or bitching, it's like, it's cool that they say, God damn, holy
Right.
crap. Especially when it's like what you do, like what you're passionate about.
and that's a crutch, like nighttime guys like us. You're gonna see them because you're gonna see heat, or
Yeah.
you're gonna see
We
eye
get,
shine, or you're gonna
we get the
something.
Yeah, like night vision or
Yeah,
exactly like NV or thermal. We get the pleasure at that time
yeah.
of getting
Daytime
way heads
stuff
up.
when they're moving through shit that's the same color as them.
Hopefully, you're a good outdoorsman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all about picking up movement, and that just comes from time in the field. And
Exactly. Yes, sir.
my best, thing for movement, I think, and training somebody, friggin' squirrel hunting. Like we go sit in the oaks and up on a ridge. Like I did it, through my whole childhood. That's what we did when we had free time. We couldn't wait for September to come. We were shooting squirrels. You go sit on that ridge, and you didn't call. You just sat, and they would move, and finding that movement in through the trees, or at that time, they still have somewhat kind of leaves on them. That's a great trainer for movement, but
That's a great point.
that's time in the field,
Well, it's
especially
just like,
daytime hunting.
well, that's coming from her being a big game hunter. Right? I
Yeah.
guess I should have led with that. You know
Oh,
what I
she
mean?
does. She has hunted before, though, right?
Oh god, we have a whole freaking freezer full of freaking elk
Oh,
and mule
perfect.
deer, and but it's really interesting, like hearing her especially like the smaller kind of
They're
one-on-one small combos when it comes to after the hunt, when that, even a situation like that with a coyote, like her comparison, and the the stuff that she brings up compared to her big game hunting, compared to that one situation, and that one like hunting situation for coyotes. It's kind of cool.
well. See, the other thing is with if we compare it to whitetail, we've said this before. When you go out deer hunting, you either set up on feed or between bedding and feed, or so those animals, they're coming out of bedding to feed, and then they go back unless it's during the rut and they're all over the place. And
Yeah.
then which movement comes if you're hunting timber comes in huge. Then coyotes, it's different. You're making a sound. You're ringing the dinner bell. So their movement's going to be more erratic, more faster, and it's going to happen quick. And we know that from doing it. But you can never really prepare yourself for it. Like we've seen coyotes cross huge pieces of property, come over roads, to calls. I guess if you got into, like, Brian does a lot of bow hunting and stuff. Like, if you're a bow hunter and you do a lot of grunting for whitetail, it'd be the same. You know,
Yeah.
I don't do that. I sit and feed. They come from bedding
Well, if you
to
do it
feed.
long enough, you're always going to be able to see coyotes. Like that's the difference, though,
Yeah.
is compared to, you know, the difference is between big game hunters and either I don't want I don't like always saying predator hunters because you got to include like coons, mountain lions, and stuff. But to me, the difference is there's either hunting or you call game, and that's what I've always been attracted to. Because I always like the just like you were talking about a little while ago. Like we can, and whether you got a buck grunt or whatever, I get it. But for just on a basic example, is like the attraction is always like the challenge is always, can I call game or am I waiting for game? That's always kind of been the difference for me.
Yeah.
Oh
Can
yeah,
I call them in and then try to fucking hunt them?
it's like turkey hunting. That's why we do that.
Exactly.
Again, it reverts back to,
And turkey's included in that.
yeah. You're talking about turkey and how good their eyesight is. They can't smell for shit. They don't care about that. But that's a whole
It's
movement
just that
thing.
extra, exactly, the movement and the extra challenge.
Yeah,
But
sure, sure.
kind of getting off topic, but yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's these are things that first time hunters are gonna have to experience positively or
Well,
negatively. And
no, no, exactly. Just
we've
to
had
kind of
times, we've had
try to
times
really,
even in the
really, really
dark.
back, like the
Right.
very few times I've taken someone out and kind of going back to it, like before the sun comes up, they've even been like, "Hey, I'd love to go hunt, go out hunt with you." And either you howl or they howl on their own when you get there and you didn't do a dang thing. I've seen, and every single time that's happened, I've seen those smiles in the darkness, and
Hmm.
that's always kind of made my heart happy
Oh yeah, sure.
when they hear that. Like it's pretty cool. It's a good experience to have.
Absolutely.
And then you eat the gas station burritos.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to eat much when we're out. I eat before
But
and
go ahead,
after.
but go ahead. I cut you off. I
No, I
apologize.
just think that, I mean, these are all very valid points, that we don't really talk about all the time. And different, it goes along with, I guess, practice, you know. Um, Go out and do some small game hunting. Like what we do in the summer when we see them, we don't have a ton of them, but woodchucks, man.
Yeah.
The
Woodchucks.
practice,
Oh, fuck
the
yeah.
practice.
Oh, yeah. Um, Small
It's
targets,
very
movement
important.
with cover, and all the things. It's super important to
It,
keep it all sharp.
it's a real thing. Whether it's your ability to run a hand call,
Yeah.
learning the buttons on your personal e-call, and most importantly, your setup, whether it's daytime or night, whether you're daytime and you have a bipod and hey, I spent, 118 bucks on this thing, and it really is important to, it doesn't matter how much
No.
cash you throw at it, dude. It's all
No.
about, you know, it's actually, that's another thing too. Two things. Go learn your equipment. It's very important. And there's a certain time of year that you can do it if
Mm-hmm.
you're not a full time, 365 hunter. But number two, be very comfortable with your equipment, know how to shoot, pick your right ammo, understand your weapon, what it likes, and then go from there. But always keep in mind, why are you doing this in the first place? Do you love it? Yes. What's your, once you flip that safety off and you're hitting that, whether it's a first stage or a second stage, what's the importance from that point on? You love that animal? Be ethical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well,
But
it's easy.
get your
Just, you know,
get your get your asses out there and just practice. And dude, yeah, I'm not going to say it because I know I'm preaching to the choir.
yeah. Well, we've goofed up a lot, you know, and that's and like a lot of the videos you see, even our, you know, ours or whatever on Facebook. There's so much out there now. YouTube, you always see the
Yeah,
good ones, you know, like
yeah.
this.
It's not the in betweens that you don't see.
I mean, I got a couple that I whiffed this year. I have those videos, and it's like it was wind direction, you know. It was they came from where I didn't think they were going to be
Yep.
and winded and gone, or they were bad shots because I couldn't get comfortable, and I was, you know, I just couldn't get comfortable. It happens.
Well, hey, dude, you guys are experienced night hunters. Like I'm new to this game, coming on 4 years. Like I've had more than I get lazy towards those AM hours. There are certain things that every once in a while you kind of let go. I'm learning that, so I respect you guys for that.
Well, don't put us on too high of a pedestal.
Dude,
Like,
you sent me a licky emoji, so don't get with me.
oh God, I'm never gonna live this down.
No.
Nope, you shot three of them, so I'm shooting back.
Well,
Yeah. I think we're gonna close this one down for now.
yeah, we got some
We're
time in tonight.
yeah.
I knew it was gonna be a good one,
Oh yeah.
but we appreciate you having you as always.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
It's always good to hear about coyotes in the desert.
Mm-hmm. One
Yeah.
day.
Always happen to
Yeah,
one day.
One
one
day,
day.
we'll make a trip. We're gonna have to stretch Carl's rubber band.
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, we got a lot of places to stop. It's gonna be a long
It's,
trip
it's gonna be like a whole summer trip.
or something. I don't know.
Well, summertime's not good for you.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be a trip for sure.
You know, like a month-long trip throughout the winter.
I would love. I That was always our goal with this is be able to share our experiences and few of our tactics, but to go other places and hunt coyotes all over
Sure,
is
I'm ready.
yeah is what we want to do. Um, you know, that's kind of the goal anyway. But hearing about them is huge for us too. That's why we like these call-ins.
Yep.
And just hearing how your season went, or you don't have a season, but how things are going for you. Where you, I mean, right now we don't do anything right now. We can't.
It
No.
it it does the same for me, and I appreciate you guys as well, especially having me on your podcast. I definitely appreciate it. But hearing about your guys' side of the country and how your guys' coyotes go and the discussion between tactics, I really do appreciate it. It puts another level that I'm not used to in my head that I
Right.
can maybe use in the future.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Check out our website, onepredatorhunts.com. Catch all the links to the sponsors and our affiliates and all that stuff there. One Predator on Facebook. Podcast is all on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Anything else? You got anything?
No, that's it. I'm out.
All right, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.